What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium spoiler-filled discussion / ending explains to the film Ultrasound, which of course is directed by Rob Schroeder. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell, top the fun's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button as well as commenting below any video you watch, including this one. Okay, so you've watched Ultrasound and you're like, I still don't know what's going on. Even though the ending kind of revealed what's going on, I still don't know what's going on with this movie. I'm going to be fairly honest with you guys right now. I'm going to do my best to explain what's going on. It might not be the 100% correct version, but I have a what I feel like a good grasp on what this film is trying to do. So with that said, this is a film about a guy who's played by Vincent Kartheiser, who of course plays Glenn. He's like driving down a road, and in the process of everything that's happening, he hits a spike strip. Well, that spike strip is important in the sense of, you watch these types of movies. When you hit a spike strip, you usually will find out that you're going to end up dying because it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something like that, or you're being tricked or something like that into just kind of having a bad time. And that's what ends up happening to him, where Vincent Kartheiser's character ends up at the house of this character named Art and Cindy. Now, Art is this individual that seems very nice. Cindy is very quiet in her own aspect. And so weird things start to happen in this movie, which makes this movie very, very complicated, and where it starts getting into Cronenberg style territory, where it gets into the Charlie Kaufman, I'm thinking of ending things style territory, where the reality that Glenn starts experiencing starts to kind of warp in time. It starts to kind of sputter all over the place. He comes in because his car broke down, and all of a sudden Art is just starting to kind of be incomprehensible in what he's trying to say. It seems like he is trying to get the character of Cindy to have sleep with Glenn's character, and basically everything in Glenn's reality gets very, very distorted. So he'll end up like sitting at a table, and next thing he knows, he's sitting at a bar, a bar area, or he's just, everything starts kind of just going out of control. He starts seeing himself having sex with Cindy, and then he's all of a sudden back in the main living room, and then other weird things start to happen. All of a sudden Cindy's pregnant, all of a sudden Glenn's living with Cindy, all of a sudden Art has just disappeared, all of a sudden Art's, just kind of in the background, and it becomes a very weird oddity of type of film. And then on top of that, there's this young woman who seems to be part of this experiment that has nothing to do with the main story, but sometimes we'll see her pregnant, sometimes we don't see her pregnant. She's very much in love with this kind of very right-winged politician who's very much, of what we're seeing very much in today's day and age with the no abortion stuff and like that. And then Breeda comes into the mix, and she's just been hired by this hospital that is doing kind of mind experiments, I guess you could say. And we find out that Vincent Kartheiser and Cindy, the Glenn and Cindy character, are in there, and they're under control of these ultrasound waves, and a lot of stuff like this starts making it very complicated and very confusing about what exactly is going on. And then you start to unravel the kind of mystery ball, what exactly you're seeing, what exactly you're hearing. It's never fully 100% explained. It allows you to kind of think about what's going on later as the film ends. But from everything I can gather and everything I believe what's going on in this film, and like I said, I may be wrong in some of these points. If you have other ideas, let me know in the comments. But this movie is definitely about gaslighting. It says it in a lot of the reviews. If you listen to a lot of them or read a lot of them, it's about mind manipulation. It's about how the human mind can be manipulated into doing certain things, how certain frequencies and waves can control the human existence. And basically why I say gaslighting is because the idea of just being able to control someone with a certain situation, a certain technique, a certain idea, a certain logical thinking is what this movie is trying to do. Pretty much as a whole, is trying to allow these characters to think they're doing one thing, they'll think they're doing another, and all of a sudden they're being controlled, like I said, by these frequency ultrasound waves. And so what you're starting to see is Vincent Kartheiser's character basically being manipulated through the whole entire film. He's been under hypnosis by the Art character from the very beginning of the film, so everything he's seeing from the very beginning is actually being distorted, is not actually really what's happening. really what's happening is Vincent Kartheiser's Glenn character was at a party for this Republican politician, and Art's character was the hypnotist, and he basically hypnotized the politician and, of course, Glenn's character to doing certain things, put him under, make him think they win the lottery, so on and so forth, and somehow he was able to manipulate Glenn so much to bring him into, with Cindy's character. It's really kind of convoluted if you think about it, but it's way for Art. Art is actually the bad guy, the antagonist in this movie, because he's doing the same thing to the Republican politician. You see him at the very end of this movie, basically still under control of the politician, and it just becomes like a kind of a sense, like a very interesting kind of weird look into what it's like to truly manipulate the personal experience, the mind, the ideas and ideologies of a human being. And to be fairly honest, is very prevalent in today's society. We are manipulated in a lot of aspects by what we see on TV, what we see by our politicians, what we see by the government, what we see in the everyday world is really just being manipulated. It's how we are molded, is how we are, I'll think one thing, another person will think another thing, and we'll completely start battling, dolls. You put dolls and you start banging up against one another. It's that same type of thing, and I believe that's kind of what's happening here. Is these two individuals, Cindy, who was manipulated in a very disturbed way by Art, who was a teacher, and the way he touched her and the way he kind of put her under hypnosis. She was basically controlled by Art's character, and in essence, she is a victim of what's going on. That's a very disturbing thing, because if you think about it, and if you think about the way this world is working, Art basically manipulated her into being his wife, and that's like a abusive situation in a lot of aspects, to be fairly honest. But I don't know if it's 100% truth on what's going on there. I think there's a lot of stuff going on in this medical facility that Breeda Wool's character starts realizing that there's something truly off about what they're doing. And like I said, they're able to manipulate with this big board that you would see in a Cronenberg film that has dials, that has sliders and stuff like that. It works on different frequencies. They basically are able to manipulate Vincent Kartheiser's character to be able to stand at some points, even though he's sitting. I actually thought his character got really hurt in that car crash, but apparently it turns out he was just being controlled in a lot of aspects, which is another portion of this film. But it starts to get to the kind of ending of the film. Breeda Wool's character realizes what's happening. She thinks she's been under a kind of a manipulation control as well. But when she walks into the room at the very end of this film, the interview room that you see throughout this entire film basically is just drywall, lights and cameras. It's something, it looks like something that has been put up with duct tape, and she thinks she's been manipulated, thinks she's been controlled by these two doctors who are the main facilitators, and she tries to help these two individuals of Cindy and Glenn escape. And at first they think they escape, but they don't. Basically, Breeda Wool's character allows Cindy to hear an ultrasound frequency that allows her to kind of break out of this kind of psychosis that she's in, and it leads basically to the car where they have escaped. Breeda Wool, Cindy, and of course Glenn's character have escaped. But what's interesting about that sequence is basically we hear on the radio a Powerball drawing or a lottery drawing, which is a big thing about in this movie, about drawings and thinking you won the lottery and stuff like that. He pulls up his pants and he pulls out a ticket, and the ticket is a winning Powerball lottery winner or whatever. And it makes you think that, kind of like Inception, does this character, is he still kind of in this world where he is basically lost for all time? Is he kind of just lost out of his marbles? Or did he actually win the lottery? That's up for you to decide. I think he's lost forever because of everything that's kind of come before it. I think he's kind of maybe possibly in an insane asylum or something like that. Maybe this is all in his head and nothing's real. Maybe Cindy's not real. Maybe he met Cindy at that party back in the hotel one time with Art. Who knows what exactly is going on? It's left open to interpretation of what exactly is going on. Like I said, once the movie moves along, it starts to kind of unfold itself to be much more clear on what it's trying to do. But then you get that ending portion, and then you're just like, okay, so what do I think at this point? Did he escape from reality? Is he back in the real world? What is going on? Is he stuck in an insane asylum? I mean, it's never truly clear what's happening. But I love that because it allows you to think about what's going on. It never wants to give you the easy answer. It wants you to think, and it wants you to process, and it wants you to do everything in your power to just kind of figure it out. But like I said, I don't think he escaped from the reality that he was living in. That's just, it's sad to say the affairs if you think about it. It's actually very, very depressing, to be honest. But then it leads to the very ending sequence where we see the politician, and behind him is Art. And there was a scene earlier on in the movie where Art is manipulated the woman who I think was the politician's girlfriend on the side, and he gets really upset at Art. But Art, like I said, has these frequency boxes, and these frequency boxes are a way to kind of hypnotize or put people under control. You don't pretty much think that he's still keeping this politician under control or under his hypnosis. So, like I said, in the end, Art's character is truly an antagonist, truly the villain of this whole entire movie, because like I said, those doctors were probably trying to help him, but maybe they were not real. I don't know. In the end, it's very obtuse in what it's trying to do. It's very much being like a Charlie Kaufman, Cronenberg, Primer type film, where it doesn't want to give you the easy answer. But like I said, I think in the end, it's a movie about gaslighting. It's about how we control and manipulate the mind, and it's a movie about just the overall nature of how we are molded in clay, and everything we see molds that piece of clay further and further along. So like I said, definitely worth a watch. I hope that was a little easier to understand. I know it's very difficult to kind of explain these types of movies on just the nature alone, but I hope I was able to help at least a little bit for trying to unravel what is ultrasound. So with that said, that'll do it. That'll be my spoiler discussion / ending explains of ultrasound. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below. What is your overall theory? If it differs from mine, I'm perfectly alright with that. Just let me know what you think. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.